The shoe that we're going to talk about today is probably the most minimal footwear that you can select if you still want an outsole between your foot and the ground. That's going to be the Wildling Tanuki. This is specifically the Tanuki Umi. Folks, I'm glad you're here. My name is Chris, and this is the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. Today, my brother Eric and I are going to talk about the Tanuki Umi in depth and let you know whether or not it's a barefoot shoe that we would recommend. It's super cool. It's super interesting. It's super different compared to the other barefoot shoes that are on the market. It's patterned after a Japanese rice paper shoe, and it is in fact made of rice paper. So we're gonna get into our likes and our dislikes of the Tanuki Umi, and then at the end we're gonna give you our recommendation on whether or not we would recommend this to somebody who's looking for an extremely minimal barefoot shoe. If you're interested in jumping around to different parts of the video, there are timestamps down in the description, and if we don't answer any questions that you might have about this shoe, make sure to let us know those questions in the comment section and we'll make sure to answer you. But for now, I'm gonna pass things over to Eric to get us into his first like of the Wildling Tanuki Umi.
Alright, so one thing that I noticed about Wildlings right off the bat were their really cool outsoles. Now these things are crazy. It's one of the shoes that you can roll into a ball. And so that outsole is super flexible in every way that you can imagine. It really lets your foot act like it's not even there, but it is a little bit of a denser rubber. And so I do think that it's going to last quite a long time just because of how dense it is. It's a pretty firm platform for your foot to be on, despite how flexible it is. So I think that's a really cool combo. The outsole on Wildling shoes is something that they are definitely getting right.
The first like that I want to bring up for the Tanuki Umi is going to be how light it is and how flexible it is as well. I touched on the flexibility in the intro. It's absolutely insane the way that these things roll up, and two reasons why that is really nice is one, obviously it's going to bend and flex with my foot really, really well. That's something I want in every pair of shoes that I wear for the most part. But then the fact that I can pack these away really easily for a trip, if they are not the first pair of shoes that I'm choosing for that trip, I can roll them up, throw a rubber band around them, and just pack them away really easily, and they're not going to take up a ton of space. And then they're a good option down the road if I need something a little bit more minimal while I'm on my trip. Moving on to the lightness aspect, these things are less burdensome on my feet than some of the sandals that we worked with this summer. So that is saying a lot. I love how light, flexible, and comfortable these things are on foot.
Now another thing that I really like about these shoes is that they are probably the most barefoot or minimal feeling of all the shoes that we've gotten outside of like a Vibram 5-finger. Just because your toes don't separate makes it feel like you are wearing a shoe, but you get as close to being barefoot as possible with these things on. They are so light. I already talked about how flexible that outsole is, and so really it's almost like there's nothing there on your foot. I love how barefoot these things are.
The next like that I want to bring up for the Tanuki Umi is going to be how breathable these things are. Again, Japanese rice paper shoe. Very light, very flexible, very breathable as well. I've actually been rocking these a lot without socks this summer, and usually when I do that, I find that I get a lot of foot sweating inside of a shoe. Not the case with the Tanuki Umi. I can rock these without socks all day and not have that issue, and because of all that, they don't stink either. I love how breathable these things are, extremely comfortable to wear in the hotter weather that we've been having here.
The last like that I have when it comes to the Tanuki Umi specifically is that this one is made out of washi paper. Now their shoes have a few different materials that they're made out of, but a lot of the Tanuki models are made out of that washi paper, and I think it's just a really cool, really unique thing. There's a lot of brands out there trying to be more sustainable, trying to use good materials in their shoe making. And for a bit there, we had some brands that were opting for like fake leathers and things like that. But now brands are finding that alpaca and hemp and things like that are better materials. And so this washi paper is no different there. I think that this was a cool material for them to use. And I like how it's constructed as well. There's some stitching between the outsole and the upper. And so it's more than just everything being glued together. You get some extra security there. I like the construction method of the shoe. I like what it's made out of.
The last like I want to give here when it comes to the Tanuki Umi is going to be the relative versatility that I get out of the shoe. So obviously it's put forth as more of a casual shoe. It looks like a low profile sneaker, which is great. It does really well in those situations, but I've also been dressing it up with a pair of chinos and wearing it to church. And in my opinion, it fits in really, really well in that kind of environment. So I love that it can go from casual to semi-formal, but then I've also been using it a lot in the gym. And I love this thing for stationary movements, my deadlifts, my squats. It gives me a good anchor to the floor for leg drive in the bench press. The grip pattern on it's pretty good across all the surfaces you might see in the gym, whether it's concrete or rubber flooring or hardwood. I love the way that I can anchor to the floor through this shoe because of how insanely minimal it is. It works really well as a deadlift slipper. So the fact that I can wear it casually, it can go to church semi-formally, and then I can wear it in the gym, and it does really well when it comes to functional movements. I'm a huge fan of that kind of versatility in a shoe. With our likes of the Tanuki out of the way, it's time for us to get into our dislikes. But first we want to mention we do have a link down in the description that will take you over to the Wildling website. We are going to be doing some more Wildling reviews here in the future. So if you're interested in checking out the Tanuki and seeing what they have to say about it on their website or seeing some more of their options, make sure to use that link to get over there.
So I really can't think of anything that I dislike about this shoe, but I do think that it warrants a caution. This should not be your very first barefoot shoe. If you are coming from traditional footwear with narrow toe boxes and heel drops and a ton of cushion, this will rock your world if it's the first thing that you put your foot in the barefoot shoe space. You definitely need to work down to it. I think that this should be like the goal of everybody on their barefoot journey. Get into a Wildling. If you can last all day in it without getting injured or anything, then I think that you have done a good job transitioning, and these are a great pair of shoes for you at that point. But really, you need to take the time to transition properly to get into these because they are just so dang minimal.
Getting into my dislikes when it comes to the Tanuki, if I had to name one thing, if I had to be really nitpicky here, I'd say that I'd like the toe box to be just a little bit wider. I am a double E when it comes to width, so I have a relatively wide foot overall. But the thing about this shoe is that it's so flexible that it really does widen with your foot. So I don't find it to be restrictive or uncomfortable in the toe box at all. I do wish I just had a little bit of extra space there in this toe box. So if that's a big concern for you, definitely something to consider as you're looking at not only the Tanuki, but some other of the Wildling options out there.
Okay, so with my final opinion, would I recommend these for others? And I definitely would, as long as your feet are conditioned enough to be able to handle them, because they are so minimal. There's very little under your foot, and so your foot is gonna have to be strong enough to do everything all by itself without any extra help from the shoe itself. But I really do like the style of it. I like what it's made out of, the way that it's made, and I love the barefoot features that it has. Again, I think that this should be everybody's goal as far as their barefoot shoe transition goes. So we really like what's going on with Wildling, and we would definitely recommend it for those whose feet are strong enough to handle them.
Getting into my final opinion when it comes to the Wildling Tanuki, would I recommend this shoe to somebody who is looking for an extremely minimal barefoot style shoe? Absolutely. I love this thing. Again, I'm going to take it back to the versatility, because oftentimes that's the most important thing for me when it comes to a shoe. How many different roles can that shoe fill for me? And the fact that this thing can go from casual to semi-formal to the gym says a lot about it. So if you're looking for a shoe that covers a lot of bases, but then has really solid barefoot features and is just extremely minimal underfoot, I don't know that you can do too much better than the Wildling Tanuki. Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up to date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.